if you cannot walk across this river with me, we are going to have to airlift you out.
I mean, it's coaching in cars, man.
A lot of limiting beliefs out there, thinking, how in the world am I going to accomplish something like that?
Not dissimilar to anybody.
The greatest risk we were afraid of that did not come to fruition is...
If I started a new business tomorrow, the first thing I would do is hire a coach. All right, so welcome back to Coaching in Cars. I have a really fun interview today, which I'm super excited about. Miss Chelsea Ashford.
What's up?
Is with me today, and I'm going to kick it over to you and tell us who you are, what's the business that you own, and what do you do in that business?
Yeah. So I am a commercial branding and lifestyle photographer. I've been around for 16 years. This is my 16th year. I did weddings for 15 of those years, and last year was my first year with no weddings on the book intentionally. I love weddings, but it was time to step out of that and just really dive into what really lights me up, which is helping other entrepreneurs bring their business to life through branding and also establish businesses to help tell their story and what they have and like continue to help them with their legacy. And then with the lifestyle part of it, I do consider lifestyle to also be commercial depending on what it is. So like I love shooting for big projects. Like I've shot for the city of Greenville, but instead of shooting like really tailored things, we'll kind of dive into more lifestyle things. And so we're like shooting really real things that people do in order to show how amazing Greenville is. So that's just like an example of like commercial lifestyle. And then in other news, I also shoot families. And so that's part of the lifestyle aspect of it. And so I love photographing families. That is like such a huge passion of mine. I've really started to structure my business in the last let's say 7 years around doing these mini sessions. And so I will host spring minis, fall minis, and Christmas minis. And so that means 20-minute sessions. You get a bunch of family photos. It is so much fun. It's high energy.
Yep.
And so people get bang for their buck, and it's super fun for me. So
yeah, we did the same thing with my family. The last 2 years. My wife's found, I don't know, some young girl that does like mini sessions. We were at a Furman one year, and then we did, and it was great. It's a cool concept.
Well, because it's quick, right? I mean, how many kiddos want to sit around for an hour?
None
20 minutes
kiddos.
is a lot of time, actually. So it works out for everybody involved.
I feel like we spent probably 10 minutes wrangling at that time, my 2-year-old. So we really only got like 10 minutes worth of shooting. But
But it's amazing what you can do in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So
we got some good
don't
pictures.
knock it till you try it.
I know, right?
But,
so I want to go. So I thought this was really cool about your business. I think, first of all, you have a really great story. So stay tuned. There's an awesome story coming up. However, I want to put a pin in that. The business piece of it, I think it's super cool because most photographers are doing every job. Like it's like this scarcity mindset of I got to shoot every job that comes to me. But I think it's really interesting. You're like, I shot for 15 years, I shot weddings, and on purpose, I made the choice not to do weddings.
Yeah.
And I love the deduction of services that aren't providing the vision of where you want the business to go. So tell me about like, how did you recognize that you were going to go a different direction with the business, and why did you make that choice?
I think it honestly came naturally, right? Because I realized that I was shooting every single weekend almost, and I wasn't having time to really fill my cup up, even though photography does fill me up. Like I love, love, love it. It's such a passion of mine. But I wasn't getting time with friends and family, and I had just gotten married when my husband and I were like, hey, we really need to spend more time together in the weekends. And so it came from a place of mental health and just like really understanding that even though you love doing weddings, like what makes the most sense. And my commercial side of my business and branding had picked up so significantly that I was working Monday through Sunday. I mean, I was just all the time working. And so once I took a step back and like looked at my business from afar, I was like, wow, I'm shooting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. what if that's enough?
Yeah.
And what if it's like, okay, yeah, you can work yourself to death. You can make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But what if it comes down to not like a workaholic thing, but what if it comes down to like keeping space for yourself and also for the people around you? And I feel like everybody wins when you have that mindset where you're taking time for yourself so you can show up with 100% and not with like 50%,
Yeah.
you know, because you're so exhausted and so stressed out. And so that was a huge motivation for me, was just like a mental health and like the growth of my business. What if I took all this time that I had on the weekends? Maybe I could spend an hour on a Saturday and figure out how I could, you know, gain more clients in the commercial and branding world, you know? And that's just been such a fun part of my business.
Yeah.
So
It's so funny because I ask, one of the very first things I ask business owners that are interested in working with me from a coaching standpoint is, what's something that you need to say no to? And nobody ever has a good answer to that.
Man.
And the intention behind the question is simple. There are a lot of things that you're probably doing inside of your business right now that are either not profitable or are profitable but don't fit your purpose, don't fit your brand promise, don't fit these things, but you're doing it because it's making money and it's putting, you know, money in the bank account, so to speak. But ultimately, like, it doesn't fit. And those are things that, you know, people need to start thinking through. Where are we going with this thing in 3 to 5 years? And does this fit? Like, is this a thing? So for you, you know, I don't want to be working weekends doing weddings. I don't want to be out till 2 a.m. And be around the party scene, all of these things, right? And it's like, that doesn't fit who you are, and it doesn't fit your brand. So why are we saying yes to this? Because of the money? Well, that doesn't make sense. The money will come if we say yes to the right things and say no to the right things, right? So I think that's super wise.
And I know so many wedding photographers who like do this and that is all they do, and they do it so well. Like, they take Monday through Friday and they hone in on their business and they do other behind the scenes things for their wedding business. And then on the weekends, they are 110%, like, just ready to rock and roll. And I found that towards the end of it, I was like, oh man, I am, you know, 50% on a Saturday. So definitely good to recognize all of that. This is the first, actually last year was the first year that I really started to invest in myself. I mean, in my business, and started to outsource. And so that was like, kind of like what you're saying. It's like, what things can I kind of give away? Because yes, it's part of my business, but I recognize I could do a lot better and optimize in different ways as if I could just give this one thing away. So one of those big things is I started to dive into video. And so I hired this guy. We worked for 6 months together. It was awesome. It was so great. And then after that, I hired a social media manager. And so I've done that since September. And then now I just hired my first ever part-time assistant. She's been with me for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. And I'm still trying to figure out how to lead that, because I'm a creative, but I also do have a business mindset. But like, ultimately, I'm a creative. So it's like, I've done everything myself, like worn all the hats. And so it does get to be a little intimidating to like bring someone on board and be like, okay, now I have to also tell them what to do. Like, how can I delegate what makes the most sense to make my day as productive as I can? And so right now I'm just kind of learning the ropes, and I've given myself a small margin of like monetarily to have that space to grow and to understand exactly what I need. Because like yesterday we did a big shoot and I'm like moving lights around and like, you know, fixing hair and like doing all the things, and she's standing there and I'm like, oh man, but like I could ask her to do this, but I'm not sure I'm ready yet. But she's seeing me do it so that the next time I could be like, hey. And so I'm definitely one of those people where I have to like see it to then do it. So I'm hoping that like this being a see it, do it, monkey see kind of thing is going to work in both of our favors in the future.
I think, you know, one thing that could be helpful is like, before you get to the shoot, a game plan. Hey, I want you to handle these things when we're there. Like, I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to let you own it. And then afterwards, I'm going to coach you on what you could have done better. Like, go in with a game plan and explain it really well, so she just does. So you're not like, hey, go do this, go do that. Like, the directive nature of that in the moment
Right.
is complicated and chaotic and all of these things. It's like if you go in with everybody has a role.
Yeah.
You know, we teach businesses all the time. Like a lot of times leaders, you know, have multiple roles. Like these Frankenstein roles have been created because like, oh, Chelsea's really good at marketing, but Chelsea's also really good at production and she can do finance too. And it's like now all of a sudden Chelsea does everything.
Right.
And
It's so
like,
hard.
we try to untangle that web.
Right.
Like the very first thing, untangle who owns what.
Right.
And then let's go execute on who owns what and let's see the sum
Right.
as the whole, right? So yeah.
I think it's kind of funny. The other day I sat down with her and I was like, so tell me how you think it's going. And then she literally turned the question around on me and she was like,
How do you think it's
yeah,
going?
I was like, oh, right. I'm supposed to be telling you how to do things.
It turns into like the old like 5th grade, like I asked you first,
Yeah.
and then you just keep going back and forth.
Yeah, so I'm still learning. I mean, this is definitely the year, I think, of me like growing in that way and just seeing if it fits for me.
Yeah.
And you know, it's okay if it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna at least give it a go, you know?
Yeah, why not, right?
So.
At least making a decision, even if it's the wrong one, defines what the right one is. But not making a
Exactly.
decision, you have no idea what the right decision is, right?
I
So
love that.
I encourage people, make a decision. You know, like I have a company right now that's been on the fence about working with me, and finally I just have to be like, look, I don't know if this is a good fit because I'm going to make you make decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hold you accountable. And if you can't make a simple decision about this, like what's it look like when we have to make a decision about,
Right.
you know, upping our marketing budget and all that. Like we can't waffle, make a decision. If it's the wrong one, adjust, move, and then let's keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to take the pin out of the story that I said
Sure.
at the beginning. So you have this, when we first met, first of all, we met through your social media manager, which
Yep.
is great. I appreciate Michelle. This is the second video in a row that came from Michelle.
Yeah.
So
She's great.
Never disappoints,
Yeah.
right? But we met through her, you and I sat down and you started telling me this incredible story about an event in your life that really defined the new path moving forward.
sure.
So I don't need you to get into details. The intention is not to get you emotional. If it does, great. But tell me what happened and what was the result of that happening in your life?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I feel like I do need to kind of like set the tone.
Okay.
So like I went to Hawaii, right, for a work trip, and I had this amazing opportunity to shoot a mother-daughter trip, and it was so sweet, so special. And I took on the job, and I was so excited. And I had a really good friend meet me in Hawaii, and we did half the work trip, and then she met me, and we did half a fun trip. And so we had a blast. It was going really great. I am probably going to talk about some things that I might have said I wouldn't, but
Okay.
basically, it's such a multifaceted, multi-layered story, right? We're all so deeply layered. And so one of the big things that I want to talk about is, I think social drinking is very, very, very common, right? And before I went to on this really big trip, I kept hearing the Holy Spirit saying, hey, like, if you quit drinking in general, then like, watch yourself blossom. I heard it for years and years and years, and I ignored it. Okay, so I just want to kind of set that out there. So I'm on this trip, we're having a good time. We go on this huge like excursion. We hike 3 miles in. Well, first we kayaked 3 miles there. Then we hiked 3 miles into this jungle.
Okay.
And anybody who's maybe been to Kauai, we were actually doing the secret waterfall hike. So maybe some people out there might know that. So we get to the waterfall, and by the way, we weren't drinking. This is just part of the story. So I'm like, everybody's getting in the waterfall at the base of it, and I'm like walking across the rocks, and I'm like, oh my God, smile everybody. And I have my camera facing us. And immediately as I bring it around, I slip on a rock, a slippery little rock, and I fall back onto my back. And immediately, you know when you get really embarrassed, you just want to get up and you're like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
So I try to do that just naturally. Like I try to get up, and then all of a sudden I realized I can't move. And I was like, oh. And it was like a jolting, stabbing pain in my back. And I was like, okay. something's going on. I've never broken a bone in my body, so I have no clue what that feels like. So I get up, or I didn't get up. I just sat there, and everybody comes rushing over, and I realized that this is like a big deal. And so we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's no service. And so the whole story is a miracle. The trip itself was actually supposed to just be me and my friend Annie. And one of her guy friends and his brother happened to be in Kauai at the same time.
Okay.
They ended up coming on this hike excursion with us.
Total luck.
Total luck.
Yeah.
And the crazier part is my husband had met one of the guys and loved this guy. So like he felt so safe that these guys were with us on this big hike. So key to that story is that they were like baby angels that came to help me, and they literally ran to get service. They ran like a mile and a half, and this wasn't like a hike that you just hike. It's like over boulders, or like going through rivers. Like it's like an intense
it's not
hike.
a walking path.
No.
Around a lake.
No. And so they ran, got service, and then we sat there for about 3.5 hours. And, you know, everything's going through your mind. Like, did I paralyze myself?
Yeah.
Did I break an actual bone in my spine?
Yeah. The fear starts to set in.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what I thought was so cool was that different hikers that came through were checking in, making sure I was okay. And then I had so much prayer around me.
Yeah.
People were laying hands on me, praying for me in that moment. People I'd never met. And then my best friend Annie was with me, and I'll never forget the prayer she kept saying over me. She kept saying, God, I pray that angels are above her, below her, and beside her, in front of her and behind her, and carry her through this and like, you know, keep her safe. And so I'll never forget that prayer, because now I say it when something happens, or like I'm praying for someone, I pray that prayer. And so anyway, eventually the firefighters came, and there were like maybe 9 or 10 of them, and they had one of these like big, long, I don't even know what you call it, but boards.
Yeah, like a backboard.
And they had a huge wheel. So they were gonna like strap me to this board and then wheel me out through these boulders. So, and let me just say, to get up to the path was like literally this high.
Yeah,
like it was
like
just
steep.
Yeah. So God bless them, because I was even 15 pounds heavier than I am now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, God bless y'all.
Yeah, at that point, every pound matters.
Every pound matters for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And so this firefighter comes across the base of the waterfall at the bottom, basically a river. And he looks at me and he says, if you cannot walk across this river with me, we are going to have to airlift you out. And I looked at Annie and I was like, I am not getting airlifted out. There's no freaking way. I would have a panic attack just being up there in that little thing that hangs. So anyway, with all my might, I got up in pain, went across the river with all these firefighters. They strapped me to the board on my back, which was what I broke.
Right.
And that was so painful. But what I kept getting reminded of as I was like going through this was, even though I was strapped, man, did I have resilience. Like, I made everything funny. That's just who I am. Like, I can't help it. So I learned that God gave me a really good sense of humor, even in pain. So I was like, God, I see you. Like, I was just giggling and I was making other people laugh. And, you know, I remember being strapped on the board looking up. And I was like, well, this is like a new perspective of hiking, you know? Like, you never get to see the trees like this and stuff like that. So anyway, we get out, we get to the hospital, and they put me through a CT scan. And the guy came in and he goes, you are so lucky. You are not paralyzed. You did not break a bone in your spine, but you did break 3 bones connected to your spine. And at this point, like, I don't know biology as well as, you know, a doctor.
Anatomy,
anatomy. And so he's like, it's L1, 2, and 3 of your transverse process. Never have I heard those words. And what a weird thing to call a bone. So I broke L1, 2, and 3 transverse process. So clear off of my spine. And he was like, the great news is you're probably not going to have to have surgery.
Okay.
You didn't puncture any organ in your body.
That's a miracle.
You didn't hit your head. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And you didn't paralyze yourself. And like immediate not resilience, but immediate, like, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like came over me, and just gratefulness that like this wasn't crazier than it was.
Yeah.
And the support that I had around all the people that were with me. And even though I was in a, crazy place, like, dude, and that happened, my husband wasn't with me, no family was with me. I felt so held with the people who were there to help me. So, I was kind of like, am I going to spend the night here? Like,
Yeah.
it was like in the middle of the day, And so I was like expecting to have to spend the night. And he was like, no, you're going to try to get up and you're going to walk out of here. And I remember being in so much pain. I was like, how am I going to do that? And honestly, it was only God. Like, that's the only person I can give anything to, in this story, because he gave me the strength to get up in so much pain. I barely shuffled out of there. I had a walker, I had a back brace, and I got to my Airbnb. The 2 guys that were brothers and my best friend Annie were all with me. They stayed with me until I felt comfortable to go to sleep. They left. Well, as I was trying to get some sleep, they were arranging my flight. I was supposed to fly out the next day.
Yeah.
And so they ended up taking my flight and moving it to their flight. Same day still.
Yeah.
But like, so I wouldn't have to fly home alone.
Yeah.
And so my husband was notified, obviously, and he was like, Chelsea, I would love just to see you come home. Like, try to come home. If you can, just get on the flight.
Yeah.
I know you can do it. I know you're strong enough to do it. So I literally got on the plane the next day and flew home with those 2 brothers that I will never, ever, ever forget. And I remember, like, they wheeled me through all the airports.
Right. Yeah.
They helped me through everything. And I'll never forget my husband when he picked me up from the airport and those guys were wheeling. He about knocked them over with gratitude. And that honestly does make me want to cry right now. But I'll never forget them. They were such a huge part of my story, and they were true angels in the story. And yeah, it was truly a huge turning point in my life, because now I am given a second chance to live my life the way that I felt like the Holy Spirit had been calling me to do for years. So, second little tiny part of the story is I'm having people come and see me at my house when I get home, and everybody's wanting to like check in and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what I'm doing? Pouring people wine. And we're sitting around gabbing and, catching up. And I remember one night I had too much wine, and I woke up the next day and I said, God, I hear you. I am done drinking. And I put it down, and I never, ever have touched it since.
That's awesome.
And when I tell you, my life has exploded in the best way possible because I decided to make that decision. But I would have never made that decision unless I had had the accident.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that accident. I'm grateful for the outcome, that I didn't do anything long term.
Right.
I'm so grateful for so many things now. Literally, everything that I see, I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful for that. It really does put you into a different mindset when you are that close to a different outcome in your life. And it makes you really grateful for the things that you have, for waking up every day, for movement. Oh my gosh, I'll never take for granted being able to do yoga again, to be walking with my dogs, with my husband, to go dancing, to do it all. And now I want to live life to the fullest. I literally said this prayer yesterday as I was driving. I said, God, if I'm not on the right path, I pray that you make it obvious. I pray that you will give me the strength to move on. If I need to move on from photography, if I need to open up a different business, if I need to do whatever I need to do to be a servant heart, that's what I want. But if this is my job and I continue to do it, how can this be a ministry for you?
Yeah.
How can I have this be the vessel of what you want me to be doing in my life? And I truly do believe that what I'm doing right now is a vessel for him, and it is a ministry.
Yeah.
Because the people that I help and the people that I get to serve are growing their businesses for their families, for themselves. And then also a lot of the people that I work with are really cool people that have really amazing jobs. Like today I'm shooting a branding session for a postpartum therapist, and she also has a podcast.
Okay.
And so what a cool job. I really do feel so grateful for what I get to do, because I'm like, okay, I get to make a difference in the way that you gave me my skill set. You gave me this gift, and I'm using the gift that you gave me.
Yeah.
And when I started to like shift that from like, I'm working for myself and I've got to build my business and to like, oh man, this is actually a ministry. Like I had that realization about half a year after my fall.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to like really tap into that energy of the business. And it's just been such a gift. Like that's the only way I can describe it. It's a gift. And I will say going sober, alcohol free, has been such, like the chains have been taken off.
Yeah.
And I do kind of want to dive into that really fast.
Yeah. Fire away.
So when we think about taking away something that we've done for so long, and not even like in a bad way, like I feel like alcohol has just been something that has been normalized, and it is what it is, right? I don't think it's good or bad. I just think that it is what it is. But I think that when we really break it down and you recognize how much it's infiltrated into your daily life, you're going to happy hour, you're going to get a drink with a buddy on a Sunday, you're doing it at the airport, before you get on a plane, you're doing it at the wedding that you're going to attend. It becomes a Band-Aid, it becomes a personality, your identity, it becomes something that you have to have in order to perform, in order to feel comfortable, in order to blah, 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 insert whatever.
Yeah.
And when I took that away, I had to relearn how to be in situations.
It becomes a part of your personality.
It 100% does. And I don't think that I realized that until I was without. And I started doing all the firsts. I was like, oh, I have to go to a wedding and like be sober. Like I am so awkward, like derp, derp, derp,
Yeah.
And so, but the more and more I leaned into that person that I was, like truly was, I was like, oh my gosh, like I see the little girl again.
Yeah.
I see the like excitement and the things that I have been kind of drowning out. I can be who I am without it.
Yeah.
And it's been such an amazing gift to be able to discover who I am again without that.
Yeah.
And my relationships are deeper.
Yeah.
My business has grown. My relationship with God is even deeper. And really it's just a win-win-win. So
do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast at all?
Yes, I do.
Have you listened to the Jelly Roll one yet?
I love Jelly Roll.
Have you listened to that podcast?
I haven't.
You are literally like describing everything that he talks about on that podcast.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, like it's a very similar story, but different setting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was in prison. He found Jesus in prison and started to develop this relationship. And then when he got out, he got successful and he was eating, and it was like his habit of crime and everything that he was going through in his life was pulled away from him. Then it changed to his eating habit, and he was huge, and he lost all the weight. And he just talks about how freeing that's been for him. He even tells a story, I don't know how true it is, if there's an embellishment, but he's like, there was a day that I woke up and I could just see color again after he lost all the weight. He's like, I think that being fat made me colorblind.
Wow.
He's like, I was seeing the world through a completely different lens. And when you're telling me that story, all I could think about was like, you see the world. You made the comment like seeing the world for the first time and doing these things for the first time. And it's amazing how you have the ability to do that at 30 years old. It doesn't have to be from birth. Like you have the ability to make the change at 60.
100%. And I feel like that is the biggest message that I want to express, is that you can make change. It can change your entire life.
Yeah.
The entire trajectory of the path that you're on. It's not too late.
Yeah.
And I really truly believe that if you're having that little knock on the door, if you're having any kind of like, ooh, that doesn't feel good, or ooh, I should change that. If you listen to that, you might just change your entire life. Everything that you have been wanting to change could change for you, just in one decision.
You ready for my reverse psychology on that?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that comfort is the very thing that is the sign that you need to change.
Wow.
Because when you get comfortable doing something, you're not growing anymore.
Yeah.
Comfort is the ultimate silent killer of things. If you're comfortable with your business being, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, hey, you have three choices as a business owner. You can either change the path and grow and figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
You can be dead man walking, where you just keep doing the same thing and you're comfortable and you've created a great lifestyle business. Great. You just ride it out into the sunset.
Yep.
Or you can go out of business or get acquired. All three of those choices are acceptable choices for you.
Right.
But the only acceptable choice for me is no comfort, change. We got to continually push forward and redefine who we are. And like, that's how businesses grow. That's how people grow. But comfort is the ultimate killer.
Redefining, optimizing. But I do want to say this too, because I do think a lot about energy. Like, God created us. We're all energy, frequency, and I do believe in the flow state. So like, when you get comfortable, you are in flow a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do believe that when you have that friction for growth, like, it's like sharpening, what do they call it? Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
I do believe in that too. So I do believe in like flow state, sharpen. Flow state, sharpen. And so when you hit those big growth moments, that's when that friction becomes really helpful and challenging and can really catapult you into the next level.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Dude, what an incredible, I don't mean to call you dude.
No, you can call me dude. That's fine. I call everybody dude too.
What an incredible story.
Thank you.
I mean, like, imagine if one person watches this and gets something out of that, it was all worth it, right?
Thank you.
Like,
Appreciate
God's
that.
ministry has given you the ability to share an incredible story, and like, what a cool thing to be able to share. And I appreciate you coming on here and sharing it.
Thank you.
Because I know when we first talked, you were like, man, I don't know if I can get through telling that story without getting emotional. And I'm like,
I'm sweating.
yeah.
But it was totally worth it. And so thank you for allowing me to come on and have this platform and share.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No problem at all. So I got two questions that I ask everybody on the podcast.
Okay.
The first one is, what was your first car that you ever owned?
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't own it, but my first car I drove.
Yeah.
Okay, my dad's trash truck.
No way.
It's this old white Ford truck, and it had red seat, and it had like a little leather steering wheel.
Yeah.
And so it was just, I don't know what you call it, like just one seat. What is that called?
Oh, like a bench seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget it. It broke down everywhere. And I remember having a really big crush on this guy who played baseball. And of course I went to go see him play, and it died. And I was like, love that for us. But
hey, maybe that was the defining moment to bring you guys together. Maybe you had jumper cables like this morning.
Actually, for real, it happened. So the Ford truck was my first, and I drove it for about like 6 months until my dad was like, okay, I think we can trust you with a different car.
So, most memorable memory in that vehicle, is it dying?
It's probably everywhere it died, because it really did bring like a level of comedy to it, because it was never, like, things were different back then. Like, things were not scary. Like, I would break down at the school, I'd break down at like a baseball field, but nothing ever like really scary happened, at least not where I went to school. And so it just never felt like, ooh. So it was just like a little bit of a comedy. I was like, I know this is a season, I know this isn't my forever car, but I'm just grateful that I can drive right now.
That's funny. I have two more questions for you before we wrap up. Next one is, if you had any piece of advice, other than the incredible story, but we've given a lot of advice on this podcast, I feel like, but one piece of advice where you're like, man, if you're getting ready to start a business, or you're thinking about it, or you're in a business right now and you're maybe stuck, what piece of advice would you give that person from the outside looking in?
If you're trying to start a business?
Yeah, start a business, or maybe you're like stuck and you have that feeling of like complacency. What would be the next step that you would give them?
Well, I would say like asking yourself why you feel stuck, number one, and like really honing into that feeling and getting down to like, why am I feeling stuck? Is it financially?
Yeah.
Or is it because I just don't feel like I have a good idea or a good process, a system, and then kind of like dialing into that one thing, because if you can refine that one thing, I feel like you can get over that hump of being stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
That would probably be it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And then the last question is, I always ask, who's the next person that should be on the podcast?
Oh no. I think honestly, there's a doctor named Dr. Mary Frances Duncan.
Okay.
She owns Simply Southern Chiropractic.
Okay.
And she's really a cool person. She's got a lot of really neat layers to her. She has, like, we've just become kind of like slow friends, She was a client of mine.
Okay.
We've gone on 2 girl dates, and we've got like tandem crepes, and we went to Halls downtown, and I got to know her a little bit more, and I was like, wow, you're really cool. Like, you've got a lot of layers to you. Now she's into interior design, but like, she has built an amazing practice from the ground up.
That's awesome.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but I think she would be someone really cool. And guess what? She has a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Is this the one you were just talking about?
I think so.
Okay.
So, no. This is a different person.
Okay.
But she has a podcast that helps other chiropractors with their practice.
Okay.
And so she's really a teacher, a coach for other people in her specific genre of what she does.
Pod swap.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do a pod swap.
Yeah.
I'm not a chiropractor, but yeah, that's awesome.
But honestly, you could probably be on hers and help in growth in business. And that would be really cool.
Yeah. I actually have a really good friend that owns a chiropractor firm here, in downtown Greenville. We're in Travelers Rest now, but in downtown Greenville. And they're like, they've been on a rocket ship. Like, they're just growing. They have this cool little system. It's him and this girl are partners in it. And yeah, it's a cool little system.
That's awesome.
I met them through a previous client of ours. It's so funny how small Greenville is.
I know.
Everybody always says that, and it annoys me. I'm like, oh, Greenville's small.
But
You run into everybody.
Pretty big now.
It is.
There's just so many people that are moving here, and it makes it so diverse.
It is amazing how small the recognition and the introduction game is here, where you're like, oh yeah, I know that person, or I know that, or it is very interesting to me.
Absolutely.
When you really start to dive into it. So, what an incredible story. You're awesome.
Thank you.
This was so much fun.
Thank
We
you.
could probably do 1,000 of these.
Absolutely.
And maybe we have a new co-host, but no, this was great. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate you sharing your story, and
Thanks for
hopefully,
having me.
you're going to share it, I'm going to share it, and hopefully we can get it out there, and maybe you can impact somebody's life that you never would have met otherwise, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal. So
Well, thanks for
that's
having me
awesome.
on.
Yeah, thanks.